Right, guys, welcome into the Auburn Postgame Show brought to you by Medical Properties Trust. I'm your host, Simone Eli, alongside former Auburn defensive back star Jordyn Peters joining us live post-game here. This one just went final a little bit ago in Oxford as Auburn falls to Ole Miss 48-34, the final. The Rebels get it done. They stay undefeated on the year. Jordyn, a lot of things to talk about in this game. Let's talk about some bright spots first. We were just talking about this in pregame a little bit. It seemed like Robbie Ashford did find his groove. Now, disappointing in the loss, but of course, it seemed like in a moment there in the second quarter that Robbie Ashford found a little bit of a groove.
Oh, I thought it was a video. Excuse me. Yeah, I definitely think he found that groove after TJ came in. They gave TJ a series, and I feel like that gave probably that competition. You feel me? That I felt like he didn't feel like it was any competition pushing him, so it's all on him, and that's a lot of pressure to carry as a football player. So I really feel like TJ coming in and him seeing TJ out there on the field and knowing like, okay, it's still a competition. I still have to perform. I still have to be the best I can be for the team, and so I can be on the field. I really think that was a factor in why his performance improved in the second quarter.
Unfortunately, though Auburn was able to put some points on the board, especially in the second quarter, frustrating when you look at some of the numbers defensively. Auburn allows almost 450 yards on the ground. I mean, that is an unbelievable rushing attack. Three guys go for over 100 yards, including Quinshon Judkins, who is from Pike Road High School right here in the backyard of Auburn. So it is unbelievable to look at those numbers, Jordyn. Flat out, when you give up 450 rushing yards, man, you're just not going to get it done in the SEC.
Yeah, like you said right there, you just can't get it done. Rule number one in the SEC is stop the run. Like everybody knows that. Ole Miss, they did a very good job of just hitting us on the outside. Really, they were. That's how Ole Miss plays. So they want to hit chunk plays in the pass game and hit you fast game on the outside and hit those zone plays. And it was some semi-truck holes. You could drive a semi-truck through some of those gaps that they were making today, unfortunately. And that's really unusual to see. I will say a factor of not having Derek Hall and then Kobe Wooten going out also. Those are really two of our anchors that have a ton of experience. So that really hurt us in the run game.
Yeah, a lot of different types of comments that we're getting here. Some frustration towards Brian Harsin, like we have seen. Folks calling for Brian Harsin to be fired. We've seen that through the few weeks of the season. Also, some folks saying, hey, let him do what he was hired to do and give him some time. Jordyn, I'm not asking for your opinion necessarily on whether he should be fired or not, but you have to understand the frustrations that are being seen right now by this Auburn fan base.
Yeah, of course. You come to Auburn as a head coach. This is what it is. Have to deal with it too, being on a hot seat. But I really just feel like at this point, you have to trust the coaching. I understand it does take time for you to get your system fully incorporated into a university. Yes, going on year 2, but sometimes it might be year 3 or 4. You never know. So you can't really ever count a coach out. But I guess it comes down to if Auburn wants to be patient with Harsin or if they want to go ahead and move on with him again, let go of another coach within the span of 2 years, and try to start over again. And there's no guarantee if it's going to be better or worse, if it's going to be the same. It's a lot of possibilities, basically, yeah.
No doubt. If you just tuned in, this is the Auburn Postgame Show brought to you by Medical Properties Trust. Jordyn Peters. I'm Simone Eli. Jordyn, the one pass interference call, I want to get your opinion on this, man. I got to roll my eyes too. I mean, that was, and the thing is, it was, I know it was just one play out of many throughout a game, but the situation that it happened in when the momentum was with Auburn in that moment, it seemed like it just kind of deflated this team a little bit in that moment. I mean, it was certainly frustrating. And it was crap.
Like, okay, like, it's just horrible call. Like, if anybody was out there, if it was just any player, like, horrible call either way. Like, if it was an Ole Miss player or us. Zion, that's like my little brother. I hosted him when he came in. So, like, I've watched him grow. So, like, he's starting out there. He's playing. He's making plays, you feel me? And he's always been good at pass coverage like that. So, like, great play, eyes around, play the ball, everything. Like, it was just a BS call. Excuse my French. Like, on Twitter, I was snapping. Like, if you follow me on Twitter, I was snapping because, like, it was such a pivotal call and a pivotal moment in the game. Like they went on and they scored that drive, and you feel me? Like once you give Ole Miss momentum, you feel me? It's hard to stop because they're an explosive team. They want to beat you now. Lane Kiffin, that's what he's on for. You feel me? So that was yes.
Jordyn, I want to get your thoughts. Some folks bringing up the onside kick. It kind of seemed like that surprised, at least it surprised me as a viewer, but I'm not a coach and I'm not a college football player. When it comes to that onside kick, whose responsibility was that? I mean, did the players need to attack the ball? Should they have lined up differently? Like, what do you know about that play? And should it have caught Auburn by surprise the way that it did?
So basically, on onside kicks, you have on one side. Let's see, it's 6 players on the side of the ball. It's 4 on the other. So you always want to keep it even. So most of the time, it's 4 hitters and then 2 ball catchers. So 4 people are designated to just go blow the other person up, make sure the opposite team can't get the ball. Then you usually have 2 ball catchers that they're just basically ball guys. They catch the ball. So it's all about execution. And a lot of times it's all about ball placement. The kicker can't get the ball in the right spot, or we can't get to the ball. It's a lot of just it has to be perfect, really. Like that's why onside kicks are not very popular.
Sure. I mean, did Auburn just fall asleep? I mean, were the players? Is that something that they should have been a heads-up play? Should they have been queued up to that? Like coaches-wise, I mean, whose responsibilities that fall on? Because it really was a pivotal moment when Auburn had momentum, and it seemed as though they really just kind of stole an offensive drive there for Ole Miss.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like because like you never know what's coming. So when they do it like that, it's really that front line. You have to sit in there, eyes on the ball, and that really front line is the hardest job on kickoff return. You have to sit there 15 yards away from somebody that's going to run full speed at you. But you have to sit there and wait for the ball to get kicked. And they're going to run and start. They're taking off already. You have to sit there and wait. And so you probably get so worried about dropping back, running back your 30 yards and not getting ran by to make your block. It does get antsy on that line and to just be early. So if I had to blame it on anybody, it would be the front line members. But also coaching-wise, you remind your players in that time, like, watch the ball, sit in there, like,
our producer today is Clay Yeager. He has some video that we would like to show from the frustrating moments that we saw going on with, you see Robbie Ashford here. Finley's warming up. Ashford gets benched for a series. He slams the phone down there, frustration. And then he has some words with Tank Bigsby here you see in this moment. And, you know, when you look at this, you're like, okay, you know, what's going on? Is the team, you know, frustrated with each other? Obviously they were in that moment. Is Brian Harsin losing the team? You know, all the things start to go out there on social media. Jordyn, how do you depict what that series of events was there?
Well, for like Robbie, I understand the frustration. I don't ever want to vindicate any player because that just shows he cares. He's not out there acting like that because he doesn't care about a team or he's selfish. Now, it is a selfish move to be acting like that. Like, you have to understand, like, you're on national television, 1, and then 2, you are the quarterback of the team. You're the leader. You have to be So if you're doing that, what do you expect everybody else on the team to do? You're a leader, we look to you. So you have to keep your composure regardless of the fact of what you're feeling. But I do understand how he's feeling, though. He's fighting for a position. He had just got benched. You know, he's not trying to mess up. He's not trying to all the negative plays that he has. He's not trying to do that. He's trying to fight. And as for Tank, I feel like you sort of kind of have to know who Tank is as a person. You know, he's more of a, I guess you could compare it to like a Kobe Bryant type leader. So like he's really gonna try you to get the best out of you. And I just feel like in the moment, Robbie again just couldn't keep his composure in the situation. Because if you see Tank's really not yelling or anything, he really walked off once Robbie started.
Get animated and things like that. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, when you're the leader of a team, when your head coach is in the spotlight, a negative spotlight he is, like that's not the sort of thing that you really want to have going on the sideline for sure. At the end of the day, Robbie goes 8 of 17 in the air for 140, adds 35 yards on the ground and a couple of scores, but also a couple of interceptions. Turnovers, obviously, in any conference, but especially in the SEC, they don't help you at all, Jordyn. I think that was obvious tonight in a couple of moments there for Auburn.
Yeah, most definitely. I will say Robbie did keep his eyes down the field on a couple of scrambles. And he did better.
Yeah.
take off on the
I mean, I don't think we talked about in the pregame show, Tobias Wilborn and I, that there has been improvement with Robbie, getting more snaps under his belt, getting more experience there in the SEC. And you got to imagine that the longer he goes as this team starter, the better that he's going to be. Now, who is going to be his head coach? We will see. Auburn enters the bye week right now. There was a lot of speculation that should Auburn lose several straight like they have going into the bye week, will Brian Harsin continue to be the coach going into this bye? And that is TBD. Jordyn, we'll see how that plays out.
Yep, that's definitely TBD.
Yep, it certainly is. All right, looking ahead for Auburn. Auburn is going to be at home against Arkansas, then hit the road for Mississippi State, Texas A&M. Those are the next 3 SEC games. Of course, after the bye week, Western Kentucky then comes to town, and then the Iron Bowl. So it's just crazy to see already at this point that Auburn, we're midway of the season. Auburn 3-4 on the year. 3 straight losses, and then if you look at the Missouri game, that easily should have been a loss as well. So potentially 4-5 straight loss. I mean, it's things are not in an ideal situation. I understand the frustration when it comes to Auburn fans right now.
Frustration with it's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
The Missouri game. A lot of people yes, it's a win on the record book, but if you watch the game, we lost the game twice.
Yeah.
That reality of it. So, yes, it's something to think about going into this bye weekend. It's not going to get any easier.
Yes, it does not get any easier. Right now, the SEC pretty much stacked from top to bottom, and it seems like Auburn somewhere right now in the bottom of the pack. We will keep an eye on it. Auburn enters the bye week. Be sure to look out to see if Auburn administration decides to make a change. Brian Harsin, will they continue to roll with coach now in his second season, entering the bye week, and then hosting Arkansas on October 29th. We will see, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Auburn Postgame Show brought to you by Medical Properties Trust. For Jordyn Peters, I'm Simone Eli. We will see y'all in a couple of weeks. Have a good one.
Medical Properties Trust, at the very heart of healthcare.